In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
But I do ask every publisher, every editor, and every newsman in the nation to re-examine his own standards and to recognize the nature of our country's peril. In time of war, the government and the press have customarily joined in an effort based largely on self-discipline to prevent unauthorized disclosures to the enemy. In times of clear and present danger, the courts have held that even the privileged rights of the First Amendment must yield to the public's need for national security. Today, no war has been declared, and however fierce the struggle may be, it may never be declared in the traditional fashion. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. The survival of our friends is in danger, and yet no war has been declared. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. No missiles have been fired. If the press is awaiting a declaration of war before it imposes the self-discipline of combat conditions, then I can only say that no war ever posed a greater threat to our security. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been more clear, and its presence has never been more imminent.
It's time to recognize that we've come to a turning point. We're threatened with an economic calamity of tremendous proportions, and the old business-as-usual treatment can't save us. Together, we must chart a different course. We must increase productivity. That means making it possible for industry to modernize and make use of the technology which we ourselves invented. That means putting Americans back to work, and that means, above all, bringing government spending back within government revenues, which is the only way, together with increased productivity, that we can reduce and, yes, eliminate inflation.
The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Hello, welcome back to Inform New Hampshire. My name's Rich Merritt. Hosting with us today is Wylene Poliquin, a new face. Hopefully she'll be joining us frequently. Welcome, Wylene.
Thank you, Rich.
Let me see. The first thing I'd like to do, as I always do, is request President Trump, who I'm sure never watches this show, but I'd like to request that he pardon Jerry DeLemus and Greg Burleson, and there's also another gentleman's name, and I apologize to that man because he's in prison too. But there's three of them that were involved in the Bundy situation, and all the people in the Bundy situation are free walking around, with the exception of these three. March 3rd was 3 years for Jerry in jail. So I'm asking him for a pardon for whatever that's worth. Secondarily, I'd like to talk about the National Liberty Alliance for a second. They're trying to put together books to distribute to all the counties, 3,133 counties in the United States, so that 20 books go to each county, each sheriff. Okay, and it's an educational tool for them. God knows they need it, because I'm going to prove to people with Wylene's help that reading the law is not as difficult as you might think it is, and understanding it. However, they need your help in getting these books out, and they're doing a lot more than just these books. It really would be nice if about 60 or 70,000 people joined and started contributing either time or money to them, because they need it, and we need it. We need to get our country back. So check out nationallibertyalliance.org and help them out, please. By helping them, you're helping yourself.
Absolutely.
The other thing, and because this is new, this is my first show of the 4th year, and I want to thank, because hopefully he's watching, I want to thank Dean Kern, who introduced me to this 4 years ago, or 3 years ago. and he's now living around the swamp area down in D.C. and in that area anyway. But I want to thank him, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be doing this today. And I'm glad I'm doing it, because I'm here telling people the truth. Secondarily, the new opening for this show is 4 presidents warning the American people of what's going on in the world. The military-industrial complex, the great conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. The deep state, I almost said deep swamp. It's one and the same. But 4 presidents warned us going back to 1961, and what do? Nothing. Not a thing. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to do it? Today's show is about the deep state in New Hampshire exposed. Yes, at the end of this show, we are going to expose members of the deep state. We have to do a little end-around run to get to it, so I please ask you to bear with me. But we're going to make it clear at the end, so hopefully have the patience with us. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll do it. First and foremost, what we want to talk about is the New Hampshire Constitution. This is it right here. As a matter of fact, I've got a binder clip on the New Hampshire Constitution. This is the United States Constitution. So this Constitution, the New Hampshire Constitution, which is the law of the land in New Hampshire, and when I say land, I mean the land jurisdiction. Another name for that is common law, okay? That is the law of the land. The people ratified this Constitution in 1783. When they ratified it, it became a common law document. I know the microphone doesn't pick up that far away. Started getting comfortable. They ratified this in 1783, making it a common law document. In common law, the hierarchy is God, the people, local, county, and state government, and then the federal government is at the bottom of the totem pole. What has happened over the past 100 years is our government, if you want to call them that, I think it's organized crime, took that pyramid and turned it upside down. And now we, the people, are down here, and they're up here at the top, because we don't know the law.
What does the Constitution start with, Richie?
Well, the state constitution or the federal constitution? You're getting to the point of we the people.
Right.
Right, exactly. And that's what it is about. It's we the people. And we're going to touch upon that right now, because what I'd like to do is have Wylene read Article 7 to you, and we're going to break it down.
Yeah, it's Part 1 of the Bill of Rights, Article 7. The people of this state have the sole and exclusive right...
Wait a minute. I don't mean to interrupt you, Wylene, but
it's perfectly
are you
fine.
saying the people of the state? So the focus is on the people?
The people.
Of this state.
The people
Okay.
of this state.
So we're not talking about the state, we're talking about the people of the state.
The people of the
Okay.
state.
I'm
And
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's perfectly fine. And they have the sole and exclusive right,
Who does?
the people,
The people have the soul, okay.
an exclusive right of governing themselves, which is
so you're talking about
self-governing.
Self-government, right. The people have that right.
The people have
to
that
govern
right.
themselves, okay.
And it's an exclusive right of governing themselves as a free, sovereign, and independent state, and do, and forever hereafter
Wait a
shall.
minute. Forever hereafter, how long would that cover, like 2019? Because that was written in 1783 and ratified, so is it still good? Because it said forever
Forever.
hereafter. I'm just
Forever
wondering, is
would
2019 still
Forever is a long time.
yeah, 2019 would be covered then.
I would say it
Okay.
would cover even after today, Richie.
Okay, that clears that up, yeah.
Clears that up
I
for
agree.
me. All right. And do and forever hereafter shall exercise and enjoy every power, jurisdiction, and right.
Okay, I have some issues with that, but
What issue?
well, they said that we should enjoy our right, every right.
Every right.
I don't have the right to travel because the state issues a driver's license, and if they take it away, they've also removed my right to travel.
Yeah, mine too.
Let me see. If they issue a permit to carry a weapon, even though Article 2A, which we'll touch upon later, says I can have one, and it's not the government saying I could have one, the people ratified this law. So I don't have rights. I have privileges that the government awarded to me, and just as they award them, they can take them away. The other thing, which to me is more important, it says I will enjoy every jurisdiction.
Right.
Well, the jurisdiction that I would like to enjoy is common law, the jurisdiction of the land, which doesn't exist in America today because the bar, the banks, the bar, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, have stolen it from us. There are no common law courts anymore. If you doubt what I'm saying, read U.S. versus William, 1992, Supreme Court decision that Justice Scalia wrote, and you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? They don't exist. If common law existed today, the government wouldn't be criminals. They'd be in prison. And it's like kryptonite to these people, the common law. And that's why we don't have it. They had to remove that so they could operate in their little compartments or whatever. Anyway, I better stop and continue.
I don't know. It was interesting to me, but that's okay. Anyway, we stopped at rights, but okay. So jurisdiction and right pertaining thereto, which is not or may not hereafter be by them expressly delegated to the United States of America in Congress assembled.
Okay. Anything that we've allowed Congress to do in the federal Constitution, the state can't do. That's all that means, basically. So we've covered that one, and I hope covered it sufficiently. We're going to move on to Article 8. Now, by the way, you got to remember something. The people ratified this in 1783. And what Wylene just read to you is the people of this state have the sole and exclusive right. We gave that to the government and said, don't infringe upon the 39 articles in the Bill of Rights in this Constitution because they belong to the people. We, the people, told our servant government, don't infringe upon our rights. You tell me, are they infringing upon your rights? And I'll leave it go at that. We can move on to Article 8.
Article 8. Accountability of magistrates and officers, public's right to know. All power residing originally in and being derived from the people.
Wait a minute now, though. I think you might have made a mistake. You said,
no, I don't think I did.
Isn't it some people?
No, it's...
Some power, I mean?
All power.
A-L-L. It's not most?
All.
A-L-L.
All.
Okay.
A-L-L.
All power is...
I passed spelling with A++.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I mean...
All power.
All power. It's hard to believe because it seems like we don't have any today.
No,
but the law
right.
that you're reading says we do.
It says all power derived from the people.
Okay, that clears that up pretty good.
All the magistrates and officers of government are their substitutes and agents, and at all times accountable to them, which means to who, Richie?
To the people.
Thank you.
Accountable to the people, so that if you have a question, you could have it answered by one of your public servants.
Which is who?
The government.
And they're supposed to be accountable
Magistrates,
to who?
agents, they're accountable to the people.
They're supposed to be.
Well, they are. The law says so. Do we have a law in this country?
I thought so, but...
That point will be made soon.
Yeah. Shall I continue?
Yes,
All
please.
right. Government, therefore, should be open, accessible, accountable, and responsive.
It certainly sounds like it says that there are servants. They're there to serve the public, and servant doesn't mean anything derogatory. It just means they are there to serve the public.
Isn't it
with
our
governmental
taxes that
needs.
pay their paychecks?
Absolutely. It's our taxes to pay the paycheck. And for those corporate people who, the smart-ass people who might have a little comment about that, it's our fees, our fines, and all the other theft that you have on us that pays the bill, too. So
like
it's
our
the people.
licenses and registrations for our cars and so on and so forth, all that fraud.
All the fees that they charge you, even though Murdoch versus Pennsylvania Shuttlesworth versus Birmingham, Alabama says you can't charge a fee for you can't charge a fee for a license or a permit on a protected right of the people, but you do. I have to have a driver's license, and up until recently I had to have a permit to carry a gun, or so you said. The law says differently, though. So if you don't know the law, and if you're not reading the law, how do you know that? The answer is you don't. I'd like to move on to 5, because 5 to me is critical. Article 5, Part 2nd, is the most critical. Well, in my eyes, it's the most critical, but I'll turn it over to Wylene.
Article 5, power to make laws, elect officers, define their powers and duties, impose fines and assess taxes, prohibited from authorizing towns to aid certain corporations. And farther, full power and authority are hereby given and granted
Hold on. Just excuse me, but
certainly.
Full power is hereby given and granted. Who gave and granted that power?
I believe it's the people.
Oh, because they ratified that law.
Yeah.
The law.
And even up here in the title here, it says the power that has been given by the people to the general court.
And what's another name for the general court? It's AKA the legislature. Right. Just in case some people out there don't know that, I'm not trying to be condescending, but you may not know that the general court is the legislature.
That's right. So the authority are hereby given and granted to the said general court from time to time to make, ordain, and establish all manner of wholesome and reasonable orders, laws, statutes, ordinances, directions, and instructions.
Well, I have an issue with that, though. That's confusing to me. What type of directions and instructions does the state give to you? Because I've never received any. Have you?
No.
Can you think of any? I mean, I really did try to think hard about it, and I can't come up with any directions or instructions that I've ever received from the state.
No.
And I worked in Massachusetts in government down there, too.
No.
So, all right, I was just curious because it seemed, well, we'll continue on because I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know who they're making these laws and orders and everything for. I'm guessing that they're making them for the people, but we'll see. I'm not really sure about that yet.
Either with penalties or without, so as the same be not repugnant or contrary to this Constitution.
So excuse me again.
No problem.
If it's repugnant to the Constitution, repugnant or contrary, it's the same thing, to the Constitution, it's null and void because you can't have the law that the people made because the people are the lawmakers. Okay, and we're going to prove that in about 2 seconds. The people make the law. You can't have something else that the legislature does that's repugnant to it because we don't pay them to make the laws for the people. And we'll point that out in a minute.
As they may judge for the benefit and welfare of this state.
Okay, then that's the real kicker of this state. So they can make orders, laws, statutes, codes, rules, regulations, ordinances, directions, and instructions for the state. Who is the state? Because when I read that years and years ago, I said, gee, that's me. I live in the state. And I kept saying it until it kept bothering me, directions and instructions. I never got directions and instructions. So what directions and instructions is the legislature giving me? And then, if I hope I gave you the right copy there, Wylene, but the definition of state.
Want me to read it?
Please.
Noun. Excuse me. Political organization of a country. Supreme civil power. Government. 1300, Century 1300. From special use of state. Noun. This sense grew out of the meaning, condition of a country with regard to government.
Okay, I just wanted to point another thing out because we're so used to calling New Hampshire state. New Hampshire, along with the other 49 countries, is a country. I don't know if you know that, but state is a country. the state of Italy, the state of Spain. They're all countries, all of us. The 50 states united make up a nation, the United States. But the point that I wanted to make here is that the word state is I'm sorry, I almost said a country, is a government. So we elect our elected officials to make laws and statutes and codes and all that other stuff for the government. We elect them as our representatives, our public servants, okay? They, in turn, are supposed to legislate the affairs of government. They regulate the behavior of our government, not us. We, the sovereign people of New Hampshire, okay, and Wylene read that before, the people of the state have the sole and exclusive power, all right, of governing themselves as a free, sovereign, and independent state. Is there any question as to who's sovereign? The people of the state. They give their sovereignty to the state. Without the people, there is no sovereignty. Unless you got a king. We don't have kings.
We
At least
don't
we're
have
not
kings
supposed
and
to.
queens.
We're not supposed to.
Nope.
This is where people they refuse to read the law, and it's so simple if you take the time to do it, and you find out that, wait a minute, the legislature, they can make all the statutes they want. They don't apply to me and you. Okay, if it's repugnant to the Constitution, it's no good. The only thing we allowed them to do is tax us. And I want to say this because there was a big rally last Saturday about the income tax that's going to come on us, supposedly. They can pass all the income taxes they want. I'm telling Governor Sununu, the Speaker of the House, the Senate President, and all of you, I'm not paying an income tax in the state of New Hampshire, okay? Do you know why? I don't have an income to report to you. Income means gains or profits from corporate activity. It has nothing to do with your paycheck. Your paycheck is your time and your labor. If anybody taxes your time, you're a slave. Because time is the one precious thing you have in life that's very limited. And if you let someone tax it, they're taking a piece of you. Think about that. And the only way to stop it is for you and me and Wylene to stand together and stop it, because it's crazy. That's the major point that we wanted to bring forth here on, as far as I'm concerned, Article 5, and that is that the state is the one that the legislature makes the laws for. We pay them, we elect them and pay them $100 a year. What, to rule over us? Here, you guys are God now. You guys are the king. We worship you. Make whatever laws you want. Now, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. You have to read it to understand it. You know, people say, I don't know, I'm not an attorney. Have you ever said it, Wylene?
I said I'm not an attorney, sure.
Well, I've
but I can stand up in court for myself.
This book is all you need to know. You don't need to know statutes and codes. They don't apply to you. If they don't apply to you, what do you care what they say? When it comes to your officials, then you do. You do care, because you might have to go after them and correct them.
Right.
But short of that, I wanted to, real quickly, we still have time. If you want to go over Article 2A, I'm sorry. It's Article 2A, which is the bearing of arms. And there's a reason why I wanted to do it, because a lot of people in the state, remember, they had to have a permit to carry a gun. Well, I want you to read and it should be up on the screen, I hope. If you could put that up, Brandon, 2A, please. I want you to see what the law says. The law, not statutes and everything that might be repugnant to the Constitution, but the law. So if you would, Wylene.
The bearing of arms. All persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, their families, their property, and the state. Yeah,
that's it?
That's it.
It doesn't say anything about a permit?
Nothing.
Permission? No?
Permission, no permit, no license.
Why would you get permission from your public servants? You wrote that law. Our forefathers wrote it, but it's ours today. So why would we ask them for permission to carry a sidearm? Why would we care what the federal government does when we told them Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, you can operate out of Washington, D.C., 10 square mile area. That's all you can do. I don't live in a federal, any federal property, let's put it that way. Docks, stockyards, military stations, post office. I don't live there. Do you? Do you live there, Wylene?
I don't live there.
I don't think it affects us then. So let them pass all the statutes, because, and this is the really wacky part. When we pass a statute, when the government passes a statute, you got to have a permit for a gun. Do you know who it applies to? It applies to the police. Do you know why? Because we, the people, say, okay, we have to pay for their guns and their bullets and their holsters and their training. We want them to be safe. We want to make sure that here's a permit. You've demonstrated that you can qualify and fire with that gun and be safe. All right? Another law. Speed limit's 55. Who pays for the state's cars? The people. Right?
Yeah.
We pay for their gas. We say, yep, you gotta drive 55. We want you to be safe. You're our servants, our public servants. We want to take care of you. Put your seatbelt on, too. That's the seatbelt law. Or you got to have insurance, because if you're insured, then they can go after for damages now, not for a suit that the lawyers conjured up, but you can get, remedy from the insurance company, and it doesn't come out of the coffers of the state. Why should you be able to sue everybody in the state of New Hampshire because you got in an accident? Did everybody in the state of New Hampshire cause that accident? No, just a person in the car.
Right.
What we've come to is craziness in this country, and until people want to pick up the law, the Constitution, and read it, then you'll understand it. You can argue, oh, the lawyers do this. The lawyers should be drummed out of the state and the country if they don't want to come to terms with this. This is the law. Isn't Richie Merritt saying it? It's right here in print. I didn't print this book. But if the lawyers don't want to come around and they want to maintain their level of corruption that they're doing, and believe me, I've seen plenty of it, or a few lawyers that say, oh, well, I'm not corrupt, well, you better start standing. It's time now. 4 presidents have warned us. We as a nation have to start cleaning house. That's coming from me. I don't know what else you want to add to that, Wylene, but
I don't know.
feel free.
People just, lawyers and everybody, judges, people in law enforcement need to stop being able to get away with saying, oh, anybody can print things off the internet, and, being able to throw RSA anything at you, and, well, that's the law,
It's not the law.
It's a fight. It's a constant fight, and they're getting away with it. And we all need to be able to stand up and say, we're fighting you now. We have to stand united. United we stand, divided we fall. So we all need to stand up and fight this cause. Because if we don't, then they're going to continue to get away with it. And that's just the bottom line.
Just let me interject, because sometimes
Absolutely.
I say what you're saying, but I want to be clear about this. When Wylene says fight, and I'm not trying to interpret her words, but I know she doesn't mean pick up a gun and start shooting people.
No,
We're
and I
talking
don't mean
about
fist fight.
standing.
Use your
Standing.
voice. Use your voice.
Right.
Use your voice and say, okay, you know what? The bottom line is, you know what? You might say, okay, no, this doesn't exist, or gee, you know what? No, that's not the law. This is the law, and RSA, whatever. No, you know what? We know now. We're informed. You need the name of the show is Informed New Hampshire. Pay attention. Perk up your ears and listen. We're trying to tell you something. We're trying to inform you. This exists. They're not even teaching the proper Constitution in schools anymore. Even back when I was in school. I'm 52 years old. I didn't learn the right Constitution in school. I didn't learn about the right to travel. We have the right to travel. I was 16. I couldn't wait to get my license. I didn't need to get a license.
Yeah, but you had the government come up to you when you were 16 and told you it's the law. You have to get a license.
And that's what I'm trying to say. No, people who make who need to do it commercially, CDL drivers, people who do it for jobs, people who earn revenue. Okay, yeah, no, you need a license, you need permits, you need all that, you need to register your cars, you need inspections, but you know what? I don't. And now I can't drive to get to my doctor's appointments or whatever. You know why? Because they said I can't.
They took your right away.
They took my right to
Your
travel
public servants
away.
took it away.
My public servant said I can't.
Well, we got a couple things here. Real quick, common law. There's 2 maxims in common law. For every injury, there must be a remedy. And the other one is, if there is no crime, there is no victim. I'm sorry, if there is no victim, got it backwards. If there is no victim, there is no crime. And the state cannot be the victim. That is telling you why the system has been taken over. In other words, if the mayor harms you in the city, you can sue the mayor personally for doing that. Why should you be able to sue the entire city? They didn't do it. Under common law, you can't, but the system has been changed. Common law or the land jurisdiction has been stolen from us. And until you learn the law and you understand what's been happening, nothing is ever going to change. You can elect whoever you want. Mother Teresa, it isn't going to help us at all unless they know the law. Finally, we said that we would expose the deep state in New Hampshire. That's exactly what we're going to do. Take a look in the mirror. That's the deep state in New Hampshire and in the rest of America, because I know people all over this country see this show through National Liberty Alliance. We all have to wake up. We all have to understand the law. If we maintain our level of ignorance, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is ever going to change. And you got 4 presidents at the beginning of the show saying, beware, we're in trouble. Going back to 1961, Dwight D. Eisenhower. We didn't listen to him then. We didn't listen to Kennedy. We didn't listen to Reagan. And it appears as though we're not listening to Trump. I'm here to tell you, I'm standing against this stuff. The taxation without representation is BS. The garbage that's going on in the courts, by the way, Janet Del Fuco is going to court Monday. Stratford County Court in Dover on Farm Road, 10 o'clock. Be there. Support her. Get a couple thousand people in the courtroom. This is bull, because they're charging her with criminal threatening because she said something. That's what we're becoming in this country, and I know a lot of people don't know about it, but this is craziness. It's bizarre. And that's just one example. I can cite 100 for you, but unfortunately, I'm out of time. Thank you, Wylene, for being on the show. You were a great asset.
Thank you for having me, Richie.
And please share this with people. If you don't share it, I mean, we're all Americans, all right? Forget what your political status or anything is. We're Americans. Start sharing this and sharing information. If you want one of these, get in touch with me. I'll get it for you. They're free. Have a good night. God bless.